So Ellen, the biggest dilemma that I would say most of my business owner clients face is this whole idea of sales and getting new customers. And it's intimidating, and maybe they got into the business because they were good at doing something, or they had this great idea for a product, kind of like you did. But then it comes to sales or getting new customers, and it's just embarrassing and awkward. How did you do it? And what advice maybe would you have for others getting into business?
Right.
The whole process of getting customers.
Well, I think in general, I've sold a service because I had a skincare business. We'd sold facials and treatments, and now I have a skincare line. It doesn't matter if it's a service or if it's a product. You have to know thy customer. You really have to understand what does your customer want and what's important to them with what it is that you're selling. So for example, I have a skincare line, and I have a clinical skincare line where we have products that are very problem solution oriented. And my target customer, aside from the licensed esthetician, is a consumer as well that really wants products that work quickly, and that they want affordable products that are going to get the results. And our estheticians want treatments that are affordable, that also are very results driven, and we have stronger products for them. I don't go after all the estheticians in the world. I don't go after resort properties. I don't go after pampering facilities. We know our customer, and then what I would suggest is that if whoever that target customer is, you interview them, you ask them questions. If I was going to come out with something like this, what do you think of the price? What do you think of the packaging? So you interview your target market, you get to know them, you understand. So before I come even to try to sell you my products, I'm already going to pre-qualify, and I know my benefits of my products. And then when I come to see you, I'm going to ask you questions. Hi Nahid, I see you have a salon. Tell me more about it. What's selling? What's working? What would you like to see more of? I'm not just going to go, oh, here's my product. You're going to probably have other products on the shelf, and many people do. So I think in sales in general, it's being inquisitive, curious, learning about your customer long before you pitch the sale, and letting them tell you what they need and seeing where it can be a fit.
Right, so maybe someone new going into a business or thinking about starting a business, they shouldn't think so much about getting out there and aggressively selling to strangers, but what they should think about is going and getting to know people who could be their customers, asking a lot of questions, building the relationship, and then once they're really clear on the problem and that their solution matches the problem, then they suggest it.
Right.
Something like about business plans.
Yes, the scary business plan.
Yeah, so a lot of people that are starting business, the first thing they think of is, I need a business plan. And they may spend months trying to write this perfect business plan. What are your thoughts on business plans? Do you have a business plan?
I've been in business over 25 years, and I have tried on several occasions to buy these things where you fill out all this pages and pages, and basically from the minute you're finished, your game plan can change. Unless you're looking for money. If you're looking for a loan, you might have to write a more structured business plan. But if you're just talking about being entrepreneurial and starting a small business, you can basically write a 3-page summary of what you're trying to do, how you're going to do it, who your market is, and use that as a guide, and then you can fatten that up. But don't let it stop you from starting your own business. That's all I can say. I mean, most people, I'll tell them, they'll say, I have this great idea for a business, and I have a name for it. And the first thing I say is, can you get the URL? Can you get the business name? Go get some basic stuff. Get a business license, because time passes, and you could be doing a lot in the meantime. And you're going to learn a business plan. Most business plans require a lot of research. So you can be starting a business and researching at the same time. You do need some money, of course you do. You need some money set aside to start a business. It doesn't have to be a lot of money depending on the type of business you're starting. But all of that business plan can be, you could be doing it simultaneously, and it certainly doesn't have to be a novel, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, you know, what we do at Aspire, and you may have done it with us, that we do this thing called the working business plan, which is basically putting it all in draft format and doing it as quickly as possible, because as you said, everything changes the next day. So the purpose of our plan is just to keep you focused and keep you in action. And the other thing I heard you say is you can do research while you're starting the business. A lot of people will want to do all their research first and then make a decision and move. But what I've learned is that you have to act, because every time you act, you learn. And I feel like I hear you saying that too.
Yeah, things change all the time. Don't let that stop you.
Right.
I mean, starting a business is chutzpah. It's just saying, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna try it. You know, there's landmines everywhere. I'm gonna fail, I'll get up, I'm gonna fall, I'll get up. I mean, and don't beat yourself up when you make mistakes, because how else are you gonna learn? I mean, I had nobody ahead of me showing me how to do it. If you have that, that's fantastic. In hindsight, what I wish I had done was connected with more people, talked to more people that had businesses like that I did, and ask them, what were your mistakes? What do I need to know? And help me understand financially how I make a profit at this. That's a big thing. That's a whole topic in and of itself.
We have people watching that are in transition, don't know what they want, are thinking maybe that they'd like to start a business. But starting a business is scary, and I know when I started my business, I had no idea if I had what it would take.
Yeah.
So you obviously did have what it took, and you went forward. But what do you think might enter into somebody's head when they're considering, should I start a business?
Right, so there's a lot to think about, and I feel that if you have this idea that you really want to own your own business, it's not as hard as you might think. It doesn't mean you're not going to make lots of mistakes, because God knows I've made many, many mistakes, but it's something that you just know you really want to do, and you have to take baby steps. You can read about it, obviously, listen to things, but first and foremost, you need to see how that product is unique in the marketplace, it's going to solve a problem for somebody, and who the customer might be. And then you take baby steps. You investigate, you do your research, you look into making that product, or you look into distributing that product, and you just talk to a lot of people, and you get dialed in. And if, let's say, you wanted to open your own restaurant, you go talk to restaurant owners. I mean, the key is to do a lot of research. Don't spend a penny, but research, research, research. And people want to talk to you. They want to tell you how they did it. They want to say, well, you know, in my case, I own a skincare business, and I had someone come to me not long ago that wanted to start their own skincare line, and she was bold enough, you know, good for her, to call me and say, could I have a half hour of your time? I just have some questions, and I could help her, give her some guidance, and then she'll go to the next person and next person. I also think, don't isolate yourself and be so afraid, because nobody really knows what they're doing. I mean, I've been in business over 20 years, and I make mistakes still, and I'm learning still. So you never get to this point where you know everything. It just doesn't happen. And when people make it look like it's so easy, it's not.
Yeah, I think you have a really good point there, because I know that a lot of people are so busy trying to have this image of having it all together. They go to these networking events and they say, oh, well, I own a blah, 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 which puts them in a position where they can't ask questions. And really, you need to get out there and talk to people, and not just people who've done it before you, but also people who might be your customers someday, and you have to find out what their likes are, what their dislikes are. So, good point. Ellen, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about fulfillment. I think one of the things that my transition clients, but then kind of everybody in general, thinks about a lot is, how do I find a fulfilling career? Or how do I start a business that actually makes me feel good about what I'm doing, makes me feel purposeful, gives me a sense of fulfillment? People talk about finding their passion, but I think a lot of people are lost on that question, and they really don't know how to make that happen. So maybe they don't even try, or maybe they do try, but they just don't take the right steps. So, I mean, what thoughts do you maybe have on that?
Yeah, I think you have to just think about what you love to spend a lot of your time doing. Because, you know, feeling fulfilled, what does that feel like? It feels to me like you don't even know time's passing.
That's a good way to describe it.
That's what I feel like the beauty business for me, and I tell this to estheticians, it's the gift that keeps on giving. I love the field that I'm in. I've been doing it so long, over 20 years going to the same trade shows. I'll have people coming up to me saying, I remember you, 20 years ago I took a class you taught. And I can't believe I'm not burned out. It's a wonder, honestly, that you wouldn't be burned out of something.
Mm-hmm.
But I love what I do, and I love that it's an ever evolving, as hard as it is, and we struggle and we get customers and we lose customers, or we have issues that come up in business all the time. But I love my industry, and I'm proud of my industry, and I feel that it empowers women to be successful. And so it matters a lot to me personally. But if I go to the office and we're having a marketing meeting about products, and then we get a great customer, that new customer, and the whole team's excited, and then I get to talk to maybe a customer about how to work on a certain skin type, that really still is very fun and fulfilling for me. So you just have to look at what you love to do. If you love an industry, if you love sports, if that's your hobby, is you love football, then there might be something around that. I knew a gal who always wanted to work for the Oakland Raiders. She grew up with her father going to the games all the time, and her dream was to work for them. And what she did, which always surprised me, was she started to volunteer for the Raiders for their junkets. And then she was in her 20s, and she decided to go get an apartment across the street from their corporate office and walk in. And she finally got a job with them in sales. And I'm just using that as an example, but that wasn't what she went to college for, but she just wanted to be around the sports teams and to be part of that energy and experience in that field. And then from there, I don't know where it took her, but maybe she loved making T-shirts and hats. Maybe she could learn about what that process of merchandising for that industry looks like. So that's why I say start with what you really love to do. If it's painting, if you have a hobby for painting, everything is business. Everything. Everything. These pillows, our clothing, my products, this table, everything has business opportunity, and people need more of it, and they need better, and that's where I think you start.
Yeah. And the one thing I heard that just crystallized it all for me is when you talked about what matters. And to you, skincare and really what using good skincare products can do matters to you. How it transforms a person matters to you. And the fact that it matters makes everything you do. It's not that everything you do during your day is that different from what maybe anybody else might do in their day, but it's the subject matter around which you get to do it, right? You're talking to a customer and solving a problem, but it's a problem that matters. You're talking about marketing, but you're marketing something that matters.
Yeah, and I want to say one more thing to those of you that are in transition. The only difference between maybe me and you is that I wasn't afraid to fail. The fear and the negative self-talk, I can't do it, what are they going to think, I don't have enough money. You gotta work with Nahid. You've got to drown that out. You got to get the people around you that are negative out of your life, and you need to surround yourself with a team of friends and family and support people that really get that and help you figure out what that is and encourage you. And even if you fail, you get your butt up and you try again and again and again. And even if you work full time and at night you do something, you start, you start your business, on a shoestring. You can do it. I started with no money of anybody else's. I did it all very, very conservatively and get a little bit of money. That's why I started my business in my house and put a little more. I had my skincare business, my Control Corrective. It was in the house for the first 4 years. I had to put all the money back into product manufacturing. I could have put it into renting a place, and customers would call, and I had a part-time, my first person was a part-time, and she'd be filling in the garage, and we'd be preparing stuff for UPS, and she'd be standing right next to me, and she'd answer the phone, and she'd say, "Oh, Ellen, let me go see, I think she's in the warehouse." And we would always laugh about it because, you fake it till you make it. So it's it's in here. It's what we do in here. So really follow your passion, and I do believe that you'll be more fulfilled in life, and just go for it.
Yeah.
Really.
And I agree with what you say about failure. What I'm learning over and over again is that a lot of the people that I'm working with, when they make progress, is when they've had a fail, or when they've had a bad day, or when they have something that they can talk about. When everything's going well, nobody moves, nobody progresses, nobody
Right.
advances and gets to the next level. And that's why we do a lot of work with people in transition, because people who are not in transition, they just stay in their job and nothing changes for them. So if you get kicked in the gut, laid off, fired, everything in your world
Yeah.
falls apart, that may be a gift in disguise,
Yeah.
because that's when you actually have something to push up against.
Because you wouldn't stop and think about this
Right.
if you were just in the treadmill, on the treadmill. But I see a lot of people, they get to my age, which I'm not mentioning, but I will tell you, they go shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I was more afraid of saying shoulda, coulda, woulda than falling on my ass.
Yeah.
I'd much rather make mistakes than look back and go, I wish I had. You know, that scares me more. So
That's good. And on that note, I think that's a perfect ending. So thank you so much for being with you. I just so appreciate it, because I know that there are so many people out there that do have these fears, and it's just such a gift to hear your story.
thanks.